how's it going? This is Vince with Shockwave Magazine. We recently sat down with Paul Reed-Smith down at Experience PRS 2011. This is how it went. Who was Paul Reed-Smith growing up? What kind of kid was he? Skimming rocks, throwing stones, fishing.
Sharon, can I have the picture? Just, I'm asking you right there.
Oh my goodness.
I'm holding a little toy, early battery toy with like a propeller on it. Right? I think a very open-hearted, almost like a drug experience kid, where like the whole world's just, oh wow, you know. And some things happened really early. Life was wonderful, and about 7 really bad things all happened at the same time. And I think that that was the beginnings of my innocence getting snapped off. And I think as it all happens to all of us, you try to get to a more mature place where you kind of have it half back, and then you know better, right? So what was he like? I don't know. Excited to be alive, if you really want to know. I mean,
right.
Look, he's smiling.
You know, a lot of kids
I like this picture.
That's a great picture. It almost looks like one that comes with the picture frame. It's such a classic type shot. You sure that's you?
I'm positive that was me. I actually don't. I remember better than. Actually remember the experience pretty well.
Wow.
I remember getting my first record. You know.
Which was what?
I don't know. I was trying to get the record, the pin to go through the hole. Sitting there, I wanted to go on.
Well, if it was a 45, it'd been a lot easier.
This is before 45.
Whoa, okay.
I'm 55 years old.
Yeah, a lot of kids grow up want to be doctors or rock stars. I mean, was this always your dream?
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted to play guitar and I wanted to make guitars. I knew really young what I wanted to do. I lucked out that way. Some people don't find out till they're 50. Some people find out really young. I mean, the story, and I don't know if it's true, but that Christina Aguilera used to put all her teddy bears on the bed and sing to them, as if it was her audience, you know. Some people know. Well, I was lucky.
Where is your #1 guitar?
I had it on last night. It's downstairs. If you want, Sharon can take you down and show it to you today. It's a private stock signature guitar. I love it. It sounds, in my opinion, it just sounds magic. It's just got everything that I've ever struggled with is just not there. It's just beautiful.
Your #2 guitar.
I don't have one.
Right, but the second one you made.
Yes, he is.
Oh, you asked my #1 guitar.
Okay.
I was talking about the one that I play that was not #1. I was talking about the #1 guitar in my heart.
For you?
Yeah.
Oh.
What's
It's like your
guitar?
Lucille.
The #1 and #2 guitars are up in the archives. Go up and film them.
We will.
If that's what you're talking about. Your #1, you know.
That's like your Lucille.
Yeah, you know, you can have a #1 relationship in your life with your spouse, but none of your kids. I mean, your #1 kid might be the first one born, but there shouldn't be #1 in your heart. They should all be equal, right?
Right. What do you think it is that makes Paul Reed-Smith guitars so special, or differentiates them from your standard fare?
It's a very, very, very long list of little teeny things. So, you know, we try to get the headstock shape right. We try to get the tuning pegs right, the nut right, the fretboard right, the fretting, the width, the shape of the neck, the way the truss rod works, the finish on the entire instrument, the carve of the body, the neck angle, the whole bridge design, the pickups, the electronics, the cases, back plates, you name it. Every little teeny piece, and then what adds up, hopefully, something very simple, which is you put the guitar on and you want it to feel like an old t-shirt, which you forgot you put on the second you put it on, right? So the idea is the guitar disappears and you get to play music, right? That's the whole idea. So, makes some PRSs? Well, I think they probably have a feel and a sound. But the sound has been changing. We're actually, as the guitars get bigger sounding acoustically, we are able to put pickups on them that have more high end. So if you have a really thick sounding guitar, it can take a really bright pickup. If you have a really bright guitar, it can't take a bright pickup, right? So our sound is morphing and changing. At one point, I was in Japan and they forced me to answer what is the PRS sound, and they were going to sit there for an hour and wait for me to answer the question, and I didn't have an answer. And I finally said, clear and powerful.
So,
but I'm not even sure that's true.
that's what you'd like them to be.
I mean, look, there is a Gibson sound, there is a Fender sound, there is a Martin sound, there is there are a lot of Gretsch sound. I think there's becoming a PRS sound.
Still finding your own. Does the new amps help with that, or you think they go together well, or is there?
Oh, you weren't there last night, but nobody was struggling getting its own. Nobody, zero, nada, didn't happen. And the other thing is that if an artist is getting the sound in 10 seconds they're happy with, and nobody had to bring their own amp up, that was cool. I mean, they're artists, they're picky. Right. So I think it's okay. Look, it's an amplifier. It amplifies the sound of the guitar player. In the end, it's the sound in their hands, isn't it?
I think
Absolutely.
So, but the amp can ruin that, and the guitar can ruin that.
Were they using y'all's new SE series
Yeah,
amps?
God, yeah. They were all over the stage.
I remember the Auto Bar event down in Balmer City. I was blown away, as was everybody else.
Well, that was the experiment of the ISO boxes that are downstairs, so you should go film that.
Yeah, we certainly
We
will.
said that was an experiment, and it went well, and now there's 12 of them downstairs. I think there were 4 that day at the Auto Bar, right?
Yeah, at least
3, 4,
3 or 4,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Cool. Early on, you were working with this Orky fella, John Ingram.
Yeah.
What's this experience? Was he like the carpenter? I mean, how did this
John
really...
was an apprentice who turned into a very good guitar maker. He's a hell of a repairman. He's smart, very smart, gifted artist.
Did either one of you guys have experience in working with wood? I mean...
I did.
Okay. Wondering where that came from.
John came onto my doorstep, said, okay, let's go at it. Let's go for it. John did the decent thing. He showed up, moved in. I didn't have any money to pay him. So we worked together for years and years and years and years and years. And when the company started, he invested his savings in the company. That was cool. John, if you guys need a guitar repair, he knows guitars. John knows guitars.
All right. You're also a performer. So what are some of the highlights?
I'm an expensive hobbyist. Time out. I have to pay people to play with me. I don't get paid to play. I'm a performer. That's the first time anybody's ever used that word with me, ever. Where are you from?
Baltimore.
You're from Baltimore. That's very sweet of you to say. From Baltimore. Home person calling me a performer.
I've actually
I was
seen you on
performing
stage.
last night when I was answering the 10 most wrong questions from Birds and Moons. That was a performance. Putting the guy in a straitjacket last night and giving his wife a guitar. That was a performance. Nobody's ever called me a performer.
You've an artist. How about that?
Yeah, maybe.
In many ways.
That's nice. Yeah, maybe.
You've been on stage with
a lot of people.
the who's who of guitar players.
But Gary Granger let me into a group of musicians I wasn't allowed into, and that's been a good. That relationship's been a good one.
Gary Granger. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Gary
that.
Granger is a bass player from Baltimore. He used to play in John Scofield's band with Dennis Chambers for a long time.
Okay.
He's considered one of the best bass players in the world, and he has decided that he's going to play bass in our band. And when he told me, I said, Gary Granger doesn't have the right to tell me that. He says, well, that's what I'm going to do. So look, the bass players and drummers that come out of Baltimore are legendary. I'm sorry, the only drummer to ever be on the cover of Modern Drummer 7 times is Dennis Chambers. He's from, Baltimore. So, And it's very cool what goes on. Baltimore produces a lot of good musicians. That woman that sang last night, Mia, she's from Baltimore. So.
Sorry we missed her. Did you ever be on stage at one point or another and say, how the heck did I get here?
No.
You know.
But I have had a similar feeling, which is, I have had a similar feeling, which is, this is as good as it gets, you better enjoy it. I do believe that when those moments come, I acknowledge them. You know, some people it's never good enough. And I have a reputation for it's never good enough. I just don't buy it. I'm in a disagreement with everybody. There are times it's just good enough. There's so many things that I think are just fine. I mean, I'll give you an example. Cell phones work great. I'm sorry, I don't complain about it. It's not a problem. If I'm on stage and it felt beautiful, I walk off and go, that was really good. You know, I just don't, I have a feeling of honoring the best moments. I got to go to Yosemite this year. Have you been to Yosemite? Tioga Pass, going in and out of Yosemite and standing at the bottom of El Capitan, there's nothing like it in the world. And you stand there and you know it, right? So when these musical moments happen and I'm somehow involved in it, I just know. There's a YouTube played that was filmed in Baltimore for Diane Granger's benefit, and Chuck Brown is singing, and Gary's playing bass, and Dennis is playing drums, and I'm playing guitar. And the comments that I don't deserve to be in the picture on YouTube, everybody's got their comments, right? They're interesting, but I knew at the time, this is just good fun. You know, so yeah. When I'm allowed into a good situation, it's a club I wasn't allowed into, and it's always a joy for me.
Well, with that being said, you give back a lot, though. You know, I see your name attached to so many types of benefits. What are some of the benefits that are near and dear to your heart? That I know you have some regular events.
We raise money for Johns Hopkins and for their oncology, Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center, and that's an honor. We're also pretty, not overly generous, but pretty generous with a lot of charity events. If we have a guitar that has a little problem, a knot that the dealer won't accept, we're not going to cut it up. It needs to go to charity, right? I mean, that's just, it's paying it forward on some level. Look, that's a group effort. That's not just me. We all have decided we're going to do that.
Right. Don't you have some sort of golf tournament as well?
Yeah, that's for Johns Hopkins. I went kicking and screaming. I thought it was a bad idea. It's like, golf and guitars, that's really going to work. So I go and I fish the holes. I don't play golf, but I'm a good fisherman. I enjoy fishing the holes. That's fun. By the way, the look on the people's faces that I want to go fishing while they're golfing, they're like, you want it. You know, only the maintenance people get to, fish the golf holes or anything. It's fun. Some big bass in those things.
You at one point had a legal, I don't want to say battle, but for lack of a better term, with, was it Gibson or Fender?
Talking about the lawsuit with Gibson, you can just call it what it is. That's what it was.
Yeah.
What about it?
I just maybe have you mention something on that. What happened? Cause
we lost badly in the first round. It was an argument over trademark for the body shape. We won in the in summary judgment in the second round at the appeals court, and then they asked to be heard again, and they refused to hear it again, and then the Supreme Court was asked to hear it, and they refused. So it was one pretty bad loss and 3 good wins.
Good.
But I make it sound like a soccer game. It wasn't. These people are judges, and their job literally is to judge the situation. Sitting in a court of law at that level, you start to get, our society has hired these people to judge the situation and make a determination. And I actually thought that the legal process worked pretty well.
Well,
Actually, I trust it. I know we hear all the anomalies, but in general, I think it's a pretty good system.
Yeah, pretty good for the most part.
Yeah. Well, you know something? I made a mistake yesterday, and somebody got on me about it. I said, I made a mistake. if you make a mistake, just don't make it again. It's the people that make the same ones over and over and over again. That's, if a judge was making the same mistake over and over and over again, that'd be one thing. But just, I don't know. It seems to me that it works well. Look, if you call for an ambulance, or you call for the police, or you call for the fire trucks, our society works really well. Mm-hmm. They are there to help you right now. I love that part.
Needed them the other day, and they showed up.
Yeah, right, exactly.